Hello, everybody. You ready to have a joyous celebration? Let's do it. Milt, this is for you. I mean, how beautiful is this? And of course, he would figure out, I'm going up there on 4th of July. Of course, he says, he made a pact with God. Let's do this. Let's work this out. And then after that, he said, oh, and they're having a 40th reunion at Boyne's, so let's have a party, right? Pretty amazing person in our life. First of all, I'd love to honor the family. That is incredible. Susan, you're an angel. Where are you, Susan? Right here. I got my pad here. And Susan and Steve and Missy, beautiful children. What an honor, legacy for Uncle Milty. And Dawn and Tina, right? Wow! And everybody that's a family of Andersons, raise your hand so we can cheer for you. There we are, yeah. Cool. Now, if you're friends and you're from Petoskey and Harbor Springs, especially Gig Stewart, who's the reason he came to Michigan, right? Raise your hand for all the people that are friends of Milt. Here we go. Woo-hoo. Now, how about everybody in the room that he was our teacher? He was our director in the Young Americans. Raise your hand. Yeah. Woo. Pretty cool that we're all here. For me personally, he was my best friend. He was my father. He was my best man for Robin and I in our wedding up on the chapel. But the main thing is he was a mentor for me for life. I remember being a new kid in 1973, moving to California, not knowing anything, and walking in this office, and this guy was like the coolest guy, and I didn't know at that time, 45 years ago, that he'd be with me every day. And you know what I mean? And I didn't know that he'll be with me until I'll meet him up there later. You know what I mean? And all of his hearts and his soul and his teaching is going to be with me forever. I think we're going to sing, the family chose the music that are their favorite arrangements or songs that Milt did. And if you know any of them, sing along, okay? Seriously, the Boyne Highland cast, they'll be the foundation, but they'd love you if you want to come on stage and join them, if you want to stand up. It's an open forum, all musically. Does that make sense, everybody? Yeah. Cool. How many people know the song, May the Lord Bless and Keep You? Okay, if you don't know for sure there's music on the piano, go get music and sing with us later. Does that make sense? So I didn't know how I would do talking if I could get through things. And the way the internet is today and Facebook and everybody sending messages, we got hundreds and we got to see all this stuff. And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to speak. I'm going to let the people that sent things speak to you to start these things off. Is that okay for you guys? So I'm going to read some things off the Facebook from all different generations of young Americans. I'm going to start with a guy that I haven't seen in 30-some years. His name is Andy Luna, and he was on the West Side Story tour. He wrote pages, and we called yesterday, and we talked, and it was so beautiful that so he's here, but he's not here in the presence, but he's here with his heart. So if you don't mind, I'm going to read some things he sent to us. He was a great man, a gentle man, the greatest man I have ever met. No man in my mind has ever done so much for the youth of America as he did. I remember that he gave so much of himself with little return. I wish I could have made the time to sit with him and let him know exactly what he did for me. He went on and on about how Milt saved his life. He lived in an area that was rough, and most of his friends died by age 25. And he now is a superintendent. He's doing all these things, and he says every day he uses things that Milt taught him. So the ending says, today, heaven wins. He is up there with God. It is part of God's plan. I know he will go on. For me, as I go on life, I will never forget him. Thank you, Andy. Now, Steve gave me this, a bunch of quotes from a gentleman by the name of Michael Hall, who was a kid that lived out at Crooked Lake and grew up with Milt. Is Micah here tonight? His mom is. Where's Mom? Raise your hand, Mom. Oh, cool. So these are quotes from Michael. Milt lived life on purpose, with tempo and vigor, with love and laughter and song. His enthusiasm for changing people's lives through love of music and belief in the goodness of everyone. He was one of my favorite people in the world, and just the thought of him always brought a smile to my face, as it does even when I write this today. Beautiful, huh? Okay, the next gentleman, Adam Wisniewski, is out there somewhere, and he's a brilliant writer. And so Adam says, okay, if I read a little bit? Go for it. Okay, all right. Today, one of the greatest of men returned to the stardust from which he came. It's fitting that Milton C. Anderson would leave us on the 4th of July. I can't think of a better example of what it meant to represent the greatest part of American spirit. This day has been a long time coming, and I'm thankful he's no longer suffering. I can only hope that he's somewhere out there in the cosmos demonstrating the Charleston. Everybody remember him doing the Charleston for us when we auditioned? For St. Peter, and preparing to give a chorus of angels the sheet music they've been waiting for all these years. I can't help but get lost in the imagery of the many YAs that have passed before him, waiting in line to see him again and rain love on him in a storm Noah himself will take pause until witnessing he deserves nothing less. Okay, the next one, I thought, you know what? It's been 55 years of this group, and there's some of the kids in the group in the last couple of years that have never met Milt. And I was thinking they need to be represented, and then all of a sudden, 2 days ago, on my phone, a young American, we have a tour in Germany right now, a young American in Germany called and says, hey, I need to talk to you. And there's his face, and he just started ranting about Milt. He's never met him. And I said, can you write something down? They did a show in Germany that night, and they flew to Japan the next day. So I'm like, oh gosh, how's he going to ride in the plane and go into Japan, right? They stopped in Hong Kong, whatever. And so, anyways, it just came last night from Josh Flores, and he lives in Canyon Lake where Milt lived. It's pretty wild. So this is Josh, who's never met Milt, and this is his thoughts. Milt was a significant person because even though I did not know him, I can still feel the weight and the power of his purpose. This purpose is strong enough to live through us for a very long time. I think that he had a vision that will transcend generations, not to teach, not to direct, but to love one another, and love is the most powerful force that we know. Wow. And the last one, if you don't mind, is from... Okay, are we too loud? Quiet down? Is this mic too loud? Are we okay? The next one's from a gentleman named Mark Wahlberg, and the last one, and I can still see him doing cocktails out there, going, I'm uncomfortable, I don't want to talk. Milt and I both go, no. Milt said, you could talk. And that's what he's been doing the rest of his life. Pretty cool. So this is from Mark. There are few people who actually change the world. Milton C. Anderson was one of those rare geniuses. His music still moves my soul to tears, and it took very little to induce a tear from his eyes. I learned from that. He had vision. He leapt without regard to outcome. He demanded excellence. He loved deeply. I am just one of the hundreds of thousands of souls who have been forever changed for the better by Mr. Anderson. Now he's somewhere over the rainbow, enjoying his rightful place in the heavens. I love you, Milt. That was his favorite color.
Where the clouds are far behind. Hi, everybody. I'm so honoured today to share these letters that the family have written and have asked me to read, and hope I can get through them too, Lizzie. This one was written by Kayla, who is blessed by God to not only be one of Milt's many grandchildren, but to share a home with him for many years. To a lot of you here, you may have known Milt as Mr. A or Uncle Milt. However, to us, we just called him Papa. He was the one that would spoil us, dance with us, and taught us, all to help us grow into the individuals we're all meant to be. He was our own personal superhero. Although we may have been many miles apart, we could always count on the same familiar birthday song every year. Some of our favourite memories are the ones we will hold on to and cherish forever. But I wanted to share with you the man who not only carried a legacy, but his grandchildren's hearts as well. Now, don't get me wrong, he always knew how to embarrass us like every good grandfather does, such as walking into a room full of people and sharing the story of how he fell in love with our Nana because of how cute her butt was. However, no matter how red her face got, or even ours at that, the love and joy always spread will be remembered forever. Now, I had the opportunity to live with them over the years in both California and here in Michigan. Living with them has created not only a special bond, but the most magical memories that I would not trade for anything. Between our bedtime stories, teaching us how to gamble, and most importantly, the music we shared, created those memories we'll all cherish forever. When you left us here, you left the best part of you behind. Thank you for giving us that spark. I'll see you over the rainbow someday, Papa. We love you. From Susan, once upon a time, my dad loved to tell us stories and we loved to hear them. When I had a fractured skull and the ambulance driver put on the siren to keep me awake, my dad told me a story about a little red wagon. That was when I was in first grade. And I still remember this some 50 years later. Stories. He always told them and believed in the power of stories. When my brother and I were little and getting ready for bed, Dad would tell us stories. One night he was tired and just tried to kiss us goodnight. Oh no. We both begged, tell us a story. He said, the pig fell in the mud. Dad, we both yelled. Well, that became a thing. He started telling stories that went something like this. Once upon a time, there was a guy named Paul Ignatius Gerson, and he was on his way to work carrying his briefcase with his initials on it. This story would go on until eventually the suitcase would fall into the mud. And so the ending of the story would be, the pig fell in the mud. And of course, we would go, Dad. It got to where he would call him pig, where we would call him pig, and we would all laugh. My mum was a bit horrified when he did this loudly in very public places. But see, to us, this was a playful term of affection. Stories. He always told me that story songs were some of the best songs written, and he had me listen closely to those songs. Interestingly, the YA shows had always been music variety shows, not really written around stories at all. No? And yet he planted a seed in me, and I haven't been able to escape, not even kind of. One day I hope that I will write that story. One day, of course, I will write that story. Love, Susan. I Am From by Missy. I'm from music, from Michigan and California. I'm from the house on Driftwood Drive and Village Way Drive. Beauty, laughter, and love. I'm from trees blowing in a northern Michigan thunderstorm. I'm from Saturday morning rehearsals and blue eyes. From Milton and Susan. I'm from checking outlets, helping others before yourself, and singing at the dinner table. I'm from we're off like a herd of turtles. Mrs. Rainbow, say goodnight to God, and train whistle blowing. I'm from birds flying in the living room and toy poodles. I'm from Patowski, Swedish kings and gypsies, turkey meatballs and tofu. From what's in that big tank over there that says gas? The Young Americans, Sunday school and sailboats. I'm from Christmas raffles and baby monitors, a full garage and more brothers and sisters than a girl could dream of. I'm from somewhere over the rainbow and Merry Christmas, everybody. Tina, Dawn, Steve, Susan. I'm from friendship circles and prayer. I'm from I love you this much and standing in the street until the car is gone. From come on, Dada, and puffy down coats. I am from MCA and breaking the rules, acting like I belong. I am from those moments, created before I was born, all from love. Love, Missy. Some called him Mr. A, while others called him Milt. He was also called the founder and director of the YAs. He was called Chief and Boss by some too. He was a teacher and a master choral arranger. He was a risk taker and he was unstoppable. He loved music and he loved youth. He was a dad and he was a grandpa. He was 100% Swedish and his favorite colors were blue and yellow. He was born at the right time and he gave of himself. He was truly blessed. He fulfilled his purpose and made a difference in this world. He won't be forgotten. He has an eternal home in heaven. Praise God for that. He was my husband, and he will be missed by me and many others. He touched us all and amazed us too. Thank you, God, for lending us Milton C. Anderson.
Quite enough love for one like me, and in this very room there's quite enough joy for one like me, and there's quite enough hope, and there's quite enough power to chase away any gloom. For Jesus, Lord Jesus, is in this very room, and in this very room there's quite enough love for all of us, and in this very room there's quite enough joy for all of us, and there's quite enough hope and quite enough power to chase away any gloom. For Jesus, is in this very room, and in this very room there's quite enough love for all the world, and in this very room there's quite enough joy for all the world, and there's quite enough hope and quite enough power to chase away any gloom. For Jesus, my Lord Jesus, you're in this very
So you're recording this dumb thing? You guys who are watching this, I've always had a big, difficult time. Anytime that the dumb camera is on you, you just don't think very well. And I hate this.
Good evening. My name is Milton Anderson, and these are the Young Americans. This is to all the alumni over the years, over 40 years, of young people who have come into our group and then gone on to their own lives. I want to say thank you. Not for what they think I'm thanking them for. I don't thank them for all the times that they were on the stage. I don't thank them for all the hard work that they put in to be an entertainer. I don't thank them for anything that they really know. I thank them for a fantastic thing that they did, because when they left the group, they left the best part of them behind. And somehow or another, all those good things from all those wonderful people are still here. And that's what makes us strong. So I'd like to thank all those people, all those years, for everything that they left behind here. And I am just stupid with this doggone emotional stuff. I'm sorry for that. Where would the Young Americans be 100 years from now? Oh, it's like a crystal ball. Who would know? It depends upon what's happening in our times, what's happening in the world. I think we can always be there for people. I think we can help because our people are young and they have that sparkle in their eye. They can be the spark for a lot of things to happen. 100 years from now, the group will change. But again, it'll be just a veneer change. If they change within, as Bill would say, within the heart, then it's wrong. Because what is there in the heart is the feeling level, the caring. That's what's going to make the Young Americans be still here 100 years from now. If they care, if they want to reach out to good things in the world, if they want to help other people, if they want to be an example to people, if they want to help the youth, they're going to be here forever. Tonight and the last 50 years have been only the beginning. Love you all.
Sing when you want to.
Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me on. When his way was growing drear, precious Lord was lingered near. When his life is almost gone, he heard his cry, he heard his call, he held his feet when he did fall.
snowflakes fall.